Hello, my name is Rafael Seiz Ortiz from the Department of Applied Linguistics. In this didactic video, we will have a look at technical instructions and their language. I'll start with a brief introduction. We will have a look then at direct and indirect instructions. We will see what instructional information is, and we will finish with some words about modal verbs in technical instructions. The objectives are first to know how to understand and give technical instructions. Also to learn how to use the expressions related to technical instructions correctly, and to be able to structure instructional information with clarity and concision. Technical instructions are very important in the field of engineering and technology. It is very important when giving instructions and understanding instructions to use and understand accurate vocabulary, mainly verbs and modal verbs, as we will see later. Technical instructions give us knowledge and help us to develop our skills to do certain complex actions, such as to use or handle equipment, machines, and devices, to implement methodologies and processes, and to carry out a series of actions and experiments that are crucial in engineering and technology. There are three types of structures that help us give instructions in technical English: direct instructions, indirect instructions, and instructional information. Let's start with direct instructions. In this type of instructions, we have the verb in the imperative form plus a complement, a direct complement. For example, unplug the device after use. This type of instructions normally take the form of lists, following an order in numbers. For example, numbers are very typical here, or logical sequencing, in which we use connectors, specific connectors. Indirect instructions, on the other hand, have the subject of the sentence, which corresponds to the complement in direct instructions, plus a modal verb, plus the infinitive verb in the passive form. For example, the device must be unplugged after use. This has exactly the same meaning as the other example. This type of instructions normally take the form of paragraphs or even a full text, usually including certain information, additional information that help us to understand the actions, the devices, or the context. Here we have these two types of instructions. For example, do not mix these substances would be a direct instruction, such as also pull the handle in the direction of the arrow or press the second pedal to stop the machine. And examples of indirect instructions would be: these substances must not be mixed, the limit should not be exceeded by the height of the oil in the filter, or the damaged cord must be replaced by special one. Here we see the different structure of direct and indirect instructions. Regarding instructional information, this term refers to detailed information that assists us to better understand the instructions, and they complete the information given by the verbs and the complements of the instructions. They normally gives us details about things that are important to understand instructions, such as cautions, with great care, warnings, without breaking the wire, recommendations or suggestions, such as by using a spanner, for example, additional notes, since this type of metal is corrosion resistant. Some specific statements are also possible, for example, the red cable instead of the blue one, or some statements about purpose, to insulate the metal properly, for example. We have a series of modal verbs that are typical and very common in technical instructions. The most typical ones are must and should. Must or have to, which is equivalent, refers to obligation. In the case of must, the obligation is imposed by the speaker, and in the case of have to, is an external obligation. Here we have some examples. The covering glass must be kept clean, or the safety poster has to be displayed. Should is also possible, but it has two meanings, as well as ought to. The first meaning is a suggestion or a less strong obligation. For example, work in a factory should be done considering safety conditions. The second meaning would be an advisable option, but which is up to the user. It's not obligatory. For example, the manual should be read carefully before carrying out maintenance work. Other modal verbs are also common in technical instructions. For example, will, that refers to a statement of which we are certain. If the component is dropped, it will break, for example. And we have a series of modal verbs related to the meaning of certainty, uncertainty, and possibility. Can, could, may, and might. A possible meaning is uncertainty. For example, the battery might explode if whatever. Or the other sense of possibility or ability to do something, we have this example. The valve can be used to control the flow of the fluid. Other possible modal verb, which is also very common, is need. In this case, the meaning implied is that of necessity. For example, this area needs to be monitored at all times. As we see here, instructions are a common function of technical language, and it is very important when giving or understanding when giving instructions is to be clear, to be concise in the instructions, and also to be very accurate in the use of verbs and vocabulary. And you have to be very sure about the verbs and the vocabulary items that you are using. On the other hand, as we saw, the use of modal verbs plays a very, very important role in giving correct technical instructions. I hope you found this video interesting and useful for you. Thank you very much.